Tessa Thompson. Even her makeup look is changing scene to scene. And this was a movie where we had 61 locations and we shot it in 28 days. There was a lot to do, that just a lot of energy put into stuff that in independent film people don't normally do.
Sure.
Put into. So from the production design and the details about little things that people are like, why are you spending that time on that? Or, Terry Gilliam was always saying how he was frustrated that when people watched Brazil, they thought it was supposed to be in the future. But he was saying, no, that's right now. And part of that was just in the production design. He went so far away from what really is that you feel like, oh, it must be in the future. Star Wars, I was reading this book called The Conversations. That was Walter Murch talking to Michael Ondaatje, and so Walter Murch was part of Zoetrope, American Zoetrope, and they all went up to the Bay Area to make this radical film collective with Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas and all this. And after George made American Graffiti, he wanted to make his dream was to make what became Apocalypse Now. He wanted to do something based on Heart of Darkness. And it was his project all along, except his thing was much more radical politically. He was making a movie that was following the Viet Cong as the protagonists who were fighting the United States. And one of their people had defected to the other side and was helping out the United States, and they had to go get that guy and do all this stuff. And their Kurtz basically was someone working for the United States who had become very powerful and almost like their leader. And they were told, George, well, you can't get that made. It's politically too radical. And he's like, but I just made a very popular movie, American Graffiti. Why can't I get this made? Politically, nobody's going to fund this. He said, well, okay, how about if I take that same story and make it happen in space? And that's where Star Wars came. The rebels were the Viet Cong, and the Empire was the United States. This is according to Walter Murch, and confirmed by a couple other people that I talked to. And obviously, one of the most popular stories in the world, having this radical premise, it didn't do a damn thing.
Sure. Right.
For...
It sold a lot of toys.
Sold a lot of toys.
Yeah.
And it's because it doesn't matter. I mean, Star Trek, they live in a socialist world, or supposedly.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because it's in space. It's so far out into the future. We're not. So I wanted to make something that, even though it used those elements, was something you couldn't separate from your world.
But no one would ever draw that. If you just saw Star Wars, no one would think Vietnam, right?
No, not at all.
But what I love that you did is you just spell shit out. Like, there are like billboards that spell shit out. There's stuff, and there's not just that. There's the defacing of things that will spell out the message. There are words that are emblazoned on the screen. There's Tessa Thompson's character wearing those earrings, which I'm telling you, the earrings and her fashion and her style, that is going to be a thing. I love that DIY fashion. I think it's like a big, and the fact that it wasn't just about the look and the fashion, it was about what was being said through it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, being someone that has done that myself, I think that's what people are doing. Like, I like that I was able to have one of the characters represent that. So, yeah.